Hello, everyone. Welcome to Development Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio. With me today is Jiunn Liu and John McTavish. How you guys doing today?
Not bad.
Good. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning into this episode of Developing Palates.
So
Okay.
today we are talking about the Aganorsa Leaf Ground and Pound Knuckle Sandwich. Cigar is Bellicoso, I guess is the right way to classify it. 6x52, comes out of the Tabs factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Nicaraguan Crojo, binder and filler, both from Nicaragua. Price point is $11.10, and the cigar was released in April of 2019. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your overall smoking experience like?
My overall smoking experience, um, as someone that really respects Aganorsa tobacco and what they do, was a pretty big letdown. I thought that the cigar was just not. It didn't have that quintessential Aganorsa esque sort of delivery of flavors. I thought it was not very complex. It was essentially kind of one note of like some fresh red pepper spice to it, and then the cigar started having this char build up, and then by towards the end of that cigar, it started getting kind of metallic. So it was just not a good flavor combination, which is disappointing because I know Aganorsa tobacco could do far more than this. It's almost like the cigar tasted like one of those you're some B&M and you're like, oh, I want to get something for my store exclusive, and they're like, hey, here's off the shelf, smoke this is mediocre, you don't know
Right.
anything about it. It was kind of like that. um and the burn was really bad. It was disastrous, a lot of touch-ups, bunch of relights. Burn was super hot towards the last third of the cigar, got really spongy. So maybe that has something to do with it. It kind of concerned me actually because right before I kind of smoked this one, a few days before, I think I smoked that Avo one that we just reviewed. I thought that was my humidor, but I took a Padron out after that, and it smoked just fine. So it wasn't really my humidor, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, John, what were your thoughts?
It might be a humidor because once again I had
Yeah,
a pretty much perfect burn experience, and again with the ground and pound, the ash did not want to knock off. Like I physically had to hit it several times, would not come off. Did have some issues with the draw though. It was a little bit on the tight side. It did loosen up once it got into it, but I was very surprised how tight the draw was. It's funny you should talk about the quintessential Aganorsa flavor because I actually got that. And I think for me, the middle third is kind of when the cigar hit its stride. It had sort of the core Aganorsa flavors. I will say it's not the best, certainly not the best thing that I've smoked from their factory. And I would say, although I give it an overall rating of good, I would say that Aganorsa typically scores higher than that for me. I think the average thing coming out of the factory is probably in the upper echelon of good, maybe even in very good territory. But I enjoyed it. Good experience. Classic Aganorsa, bready, spicy, cocoa, graham cracker flavors. The last third to me was a bit of a letdown because the profile just wasn't as complex. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I was surprised to see the price point given that this thing is packaged in bundles, but unicorn
yeah.
fairy dust tobacco. So what are you gonna do, Aaron?
Yeah, I thought the flavor profile was pretty linear. I mean, it had mostly toasted oak and mustiness until some char replaced that toasted note. I had issues with the draw. It was really snug.
Yeah,
I
very
used the
snug.
draw tool. It provided a
Me
little bit
too.
of relief, but then it tightened back up. I got a really long smoking time out of that, but I'm kind of gonna pair that up with that tight draw, and that it just, the tight draw just kind of restricted things and caused it to burn pretty slow. But I also think the cigar is fairly expensive for what the experience is, especially for a bundled pack cigar. I think it's really interesting branding, especially from this brand. I mean, I don't really understand the concept of it. They're fairly traditional in their packaging and stuff like that. Then you
Well,
come
the
out with
the
something like,
concept, Aaron, is first you ground them,
yeah,
then you pound them.
I get
That's
that. I'm
yeah.
down with that, but not from this brand. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's
There's got to,
very.
yeah,
It's like, I mean, before Terrence got there, what is it? Before last year, right?
yeah,
They went through this like identity, like revamp of identity. They finally went through this like leave is our strength right? And
Right.
leaf is our identity. And all of a sudden, you come up with this thing out of nowhere called ground and pound. You call it a knuckle sandwich. I'm like, what? Like, are we talking? Did Ezra name this cigar? Like, what's going on?
Shots fired.
Yeah, I just don't. It doesn't fit for them. I don't know if they just saw a bunch of other people doing things like this, not that they would take a shot at it. And it's. I mean, other people do jack up the price on these things, which I don't understand either. But somehow they decided they would jump into the pool with that. So
Yeah, I do agree
um,
that the branding is outside of it's outside of the scope of how I would expect Aganorsa products to be marketed,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and
I'd be
especially,
curious. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I mean, I'd be curious to see how the other Vitolas smoke, just to see if there's any kind of difference in regards to that. But it's probably not, high up on my list to actually tackle that task. So,
Well, I was
What were
gonna
you saying,
say, yeah, I was gonna say, regardless of the marketing behind it and the naming convention, it's just this is above all disappointing because Aganorsa tobacco could do so much better than this. That's what I'm mostly and ultimately like disappointed by. It's a really tight draw, it's a really bad burn, and the flavor profile is just not. It was linear. It was disaster. And it's not cheap. It's $11 for this for nothing that's like banded and stuff. Like everything
Yeah.
about it was just like, man, what's going on?
Yep.
I think I got the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you probably did. All right, let's get into the scores. Start at the top. John, you gave it a 6.52. I was next at 4.90, and Jiunn gave it a 4.53. So 6.52, John.
Textbook 652, decent construction, quality, reliable, good, consistent flavors.
Yeah, my 4.9 matches, below average flavors, so-so construction. It's not a good combination to stay above the 5 watermark. So 4.53, Jiunn.
That for me was
Is this your lowest score ever?
Oh,
it might be.
oh,
I'm not saying that because I know. I'm just asking because I'm like, I don't remember you going below 5 very often.
No, I don't. Oh yeah, this might be actually, which is really interesting.
I can think of something else within the last 6 weeks you went on below 4 or 5, but I don't know if it was below this.
No, I went pretty low on the upsetters. It might be tying that
Oh, okay.
though. It's really bad. When I get something a 4, it's seriously bad. Because my benchmark for what's quote unquote average is probably within the upper 5s
five,
or
7, 5,
maybe
yeah.
even low 6s, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Score matches up. I mean, I actually liked the initial first third. I rated it good, but past that part, it was average and it was subpar, and I absolutely tore up the construction of it. And overall, my general feeling was it was very much so subpar. It was not even average; it was subpar. So,
Already any other thoughts on this cigar?
Talk about a knuckle sandwich.
That's right. All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. We'll also check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all those social media channels, and catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.
Ground 'em, then pound 'em.